Hello, welcome to Hot Mess Mountain Mamas episode 4. I'm Jacqi. As you can see, there's only one mama here today. Becca is not here. She is traveling and was not able to join me. I will be out of the country next week, and so you'll just have to bear with us a little bit, but we wanted to still be consistent with our time frame and be consistent with our video casts for you. And so I am here by myself today. So I'm going to share a little bit about parenting and my parenting style and kind of the kid household that I have. And you might be able to relate a little bit, but I'm curious what your parenting style is and kind of what you see as the pros and cons of that parenting style. And then maybe how your parenting style affects your kids at different ages. Because I think it's really awesome to be able to think about the different ways that we parent and to think about why it is that we parent the way we parent. So I was looking up on Google, because Google knows everything, and I found 6 different parenting styles. You may also Google and you may find different ones than me, but you're just gonna have to bear with me today. And my 6, sorry. Okay, so the first one was authoritarian. The second one is authoritative. They're not the same. I thought that they were for like a minute, but there are 4 distinct letters that distinguish them from each other, and then they mean totally different things. So they look the same, but they're not the same. And so there's those 2. Then there's free range, there's permissive, attachment parenting, and helicopter parenting. So I'm curious what you think you are. I feel like I'm a combination of 2. I'm authoritarian, not authoritative. See, I can't even say them right. Authoritative. I'm authoritarian and a little free range. So my motivation for parenting is that I want my kids to be independent. I want them to think for themselves. I want them to know that they are treasured. I want them to feel loved. I want them to feel that they can talk to me about anything. Now, I have a teenager who's about to turn 14 in a couple months, but about to turn 14, and I understand that she may not want to talk to her mother about everything, but I'm trying to create an environment of trust and understanding and grace so that they can come to, I hope that they'll come to me. But I also hope that there's other adults in their life who are positive influences that can step up when they don't feel like they can come to their parents. So, but I really do, I want them to feel valued. I want them to be respectful. I want them to be able to think for themselves. I want them to love God, but I want them to love God because they've processed their own faith. And I want to give them the freedom and opportunity in my household to do that. So for me, that looks like having discussions with them. Discussions look different at 4 than they do at 10, than they do at 14. But I want them to feel that their opinion is valuable and that they have something to bring to the table. And I want them to know that they are heard and valued. So that is kind of the approach that I take to my parenting. And I try to show grace in my parenting. There are days, let me tell you, there are days where grace is hard to find. But none of us are perfect, right? Like, we're all prone to human error. And I want them also to see that mom makes mistakes, but there's grace for that, right? They will make mistakes. There's grace for that. So I'm starting to get sprinkled on. Hopefully I don't get run out of here. But, and then a little bit of free range. And where free range comes into that is it's kind of like a controlled free range, in that they have freedom, but freedom within certain guidelines, freedom within certain parameters that I feel are safe for the environment that we live in. For instance, I feel okay with them riding their bike to the park. They are not allowed, however, to swim in the river by themselves. That is absolutely, and not even with other friends. They must be accompanied by an adult who is responsible for them in the moment. So, so for me, that looks like giving them some certain parameters that I feel comfortable with, that also still gives them freedom to explore, freedom to try new things, and freedom to really express themselves and to kind of get out from underneath the watchful eye of parents, which means mistakes will be made. But I want mistakes to be made because these are the opportunities that they have to learn before they leave the nest. And I'm like, I only have 18 years, which might be like 18 years is forever, but it's not. It's really not, because the first part of that, the first like 5 years, they're not even really like thinking about things on their own that much. And so I really only have like 11 or 12 solid years where they're exploring the world, looking for some independence, and trying things on their own, right? Kind of like breaking out. And then of course the last few years, when they're in their teen years, that's even more so. And so I want to have conversations with them. I want to explain to them, why do I believe what I believe? Why do we have the rules that we have? There's reasons, there's logic, there's function behind what we do. And I want them to understand that, because even if they don't agree, which I want them to have the freedom to disagree, even if they don't agree, I want them to see that there's a method to their mother's madness. So to me, that's really important. For other people, you might have different priorities, right? Different things in place. And there's going to be tons of reasons why you choose to highlight the things that you choose to highlight in your parenting and your parenting style. You know, my parenting doesn't look like everybody's parenting, and there are definitely people that do not understand my parenting style at all. And then there's other people who think it's amazing, it's great, it's wonderful, which, yeah. Believe me, I am definitely human. Definitely do my fair share of yelling. I definitely do my fair share of making mistakes as a parent and a mom. But also I think my tendency to parent the way I parent is driven by the values that I have and what I think is important. And for me, it's really important for my kids to think for themselves and to be respectful and to know, understand, and experience grace. So that drives me. So my parenting looks a little bit like when my 8-year-old little artist decides to paint her wall instead of her canvases with a lot of different colors that are dripping down the wall to the carpet after I've already said that art is for paper. It's taking a moment to reflect and think, like, what is happening here? Is she being disobedient just to be disobedient? Is it vindictive? And what I saw and what made me laugh is literally she was painting her canvases and then she just like painted and she ran out of canvas. So then she like just kept painting. I mean, it was literally like a continuation of what she'd been doing on our canvas. And I chose in that moment to not care about the paint on the wall, because I realized that I'm going to I made the decision to value her more than my wall in the moment. For me, that's what it looked like. And other people think I'm crazy. They're like, well, you let her paint on the wall. And I'm like, well, it's a little different for me than just being like, yeah, go paint on the wall. It was a decision that moment to not make the paint on the wall the priority. So we came up with some creative solutions. Okay, I still don't want paint all over the carpet and all over the wall, but let's create a space where you can paint and where you can create and where you can be totally free to do that, and I'm not going to care. So we had a shed that existed in our yard when we bought it that had some tools in it, but it really wasn't significant. It wasn't a significant storage space to me. So we swapped that out, created an art shed for her so that she could create. So it's kind of like my parenting style is really about finding solutions. And that there are people who were like, you should not let her paint on the walls. And they have legitimate reasons for that, and that's fine. For me, I wanted it to look differently. So, but then I also have, my little professor who is smarter than I am. Let's just be honest, always like constantly making me really think. Challenging things, questioning things, really making me think. And I want to teach him how to question respectfully, right? So I don't want to kill that desire in him. I want to teach him how to do it well and how to do it respectfully. And then my teenager, she is like, I don't know, an alien right now or something. She is so sweet, but she is also at an age where she's pushing the limits, wanting to try new things, wanting to understand why my rules are my rules. And really, it's just like I want to meet them where they are. So I make a ton of mistakes. I get frustrated. I feel like sometimes I have to repeat myself 5 million, trillion, billion times. But at the end of the day, I love them so much. And I am so thankful for each one of their different little personalities. And I think it's totally raining on me right now. I don't know if you can tell. Ooh. It's drizzling. It's not a hard rain, it's a drizzle. So I'm going to close with this. Ephesians 2:10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. My kids, your kids, you and me, Becca, who can't be here today, sadly, created for purpose. Created specifically. And you're not a mistake. I'm not a mistake. Our kids are not mistakes. We all have something to bring to the table. We all have a gifting that the Lord's given us. And as a parent, I want to help my kids embrace the gifts that they have. And that is messy. And it doesn't look the way it should to other people sometimes, who think that I'm being too lenient or too loosey-goosey or too free range. But I know what my priorities as a parent are. And I know who I am in Christ, and I know who my kids are. And my job is to help them fulfill the purpose that they were created for. And I am not going to apologize for that. Even when it looks messy and it looks crazy and it's total chaos, because parenting's messy, parenting's crazy, but it's awesome. It's awesome too. So I'm curious, what kind of parent are you and why? Are you helicopter? Why is that? Are you more of an attachment parent? Are you a little permissive? Do you tend to be more authoritarian or authoritative? Are you free range? What kind of parent are you? And if you're not a parent yet, what kind of parent do you want to be? What kind of parent do you imagine you would be? All right, let me know. And I hope you guys have a good week and a good couple weeks, and you'll see Becca here next week. All right, bye.